wound itself back into the shadows. Suddenly everything became hyper-real. The strange crag of the rocks, one jutting stone looking almost like a dog's head. She thought of her husky and wished he was at her side. She tried to steady her breathing and reached for the notebook and pencil she had tucked inside her pocket. She drew the head shape and the markings, making a note of the colors, and once she was sure she had all the information, she removed the sneaker from her left foot, followed by her striped sock, cutting away the toe part with her penknife. Then she pushed her arm into the tube of knitted cotton and slipped it over the wound, not too tight, but enough to support her deadening limb. Slowly she began to move herself towards the road, keeping her arm down so that the bite wound was below her heart. Looking behind her, she saw the tree was gone, carried away by the tornado. The farmer who drove by in his truck an hour later was surprised to see this young girl stumbling down the road on her own. The doctor on duty in the local hospital was astonished when upon arrival she produced a notebook containing a perfect drawing of a western rattlesnake. "That's what bit me," she said, her arm badly swollen by now and her voice losing its strength. "Smart of you, noting everything down like that," he said as he injected the antivenom. "Rattler venom can kill in 2 hours. If we'd wasted any time trying to identify the species, well—" Which was why from that day on Ruby Redfort resolved to know every snake by the pattern of its skin. Such knowledge might just save your life. An ordinary kid. When Ruby was 10, her father was due to take part in a tasting for the Oliverian Society, so called because in order to become a member of this esteemed club, one had to blind taste 12 different types of olive, identifying the variety and the region in which they grew. For reasons to do with bad weather in Boston, Sabina Redfort had failed to make her Twinford flight and was stranded at the East Coast airport. Mrs. Digby, the housekeeper, was on annual leave. Brant Redfort refused to leave his daughter home alone, and his daughter refused to have a sitter. Therefore, it was decided that Ruby would have to accompany her father to the club on Fulldecker Avenue, a grand old-fashioned building with plenty of carved wood and marble. It being highly irregular to bring a child to the club, Ruby was taken to the small club office, where she might read and wait out the 2 hours until her father was ready to go home. Brant Redfort was blindfolded and led to a table on which 12 olive dishes were then placed. There were 3 olives that Brant Redfort found very difficult to place, but he filled in what he could and, once finished, his completed papers along with the olives were returned to the club office. Ruby, who was fond of olives, had been his home study partner and now had a very keen palate and a wide appreciation of olives from all regions. She decided, therefore, to take the test herself, and, finding her father's answers to be good but not great, considering the time he had given to this pursuit he should really have excelled, she amended his test sheet accordingly. She detected every herb and every spice, and almost every variety of olive, young, old, barreled in oak, pickled in sea brine, from the western slopes of Mount Etna and from the northern coast of Corfu. Brant Redfort was declared a worthy Oliverian and was sworn into the club with a hearty cheer, and Ruby was able to get back to her book. Some several years later. Chapter 1. Wrong Place, Wrong Time. When Ruby Redfort arose that morning, she could not have foreseen what kind of day it was going to turn out to be. She certainly hadn't meant to find herself running for all she was worth down the Amster back alleys, nor had she pictured how grateful she would be to see that dumpster in front of the 5 Acres poker bar. It just happened that way. Sometimes things unfold in a way you could never predict. Rule 1. You can never be completely sure what might happen next. Actually, at the moment when she left the house, Ruby was expecting her Saturday to be entirely peaceful. Expecting and hoping. She hadn't been sleeping well recently, and she wasn't exactly feeling sharp. She was planning to nod hello to Ray Penny as she entered his second-hand bookshop. If the mood grabbed her, she might even ask after his dog, Jake, who was recovering at the vet's, having poisoned himself by eating an entire bar of chocolate. Then she would browse the shelves for a good thriller and sit down to read. She didn't feel like too much...